Let's discuss Jackson Koivun, another lecture. Hello, I am Alexei. Let's begin with the foundations, and as it were, keep our variables clearly defined so the story computes.
Hi, I'm Priyanka. I'm excited to learn how the numbers and the narratives line up here.
To frame our discussion, Jackson Koivun is an American golfer, born in May 2005 in San Jose, California, who rose through junior circuits on both coasts and then authored one of the most statistically dominant collegiate trajectories at Auburn University. We observed that by 2024, he had uniquely swept the Haskins, Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, and Phil Mickelson Outstanding Freshman Awards. By 2026, he was a two-time Haskins and two-time Hogan recipient. And critically, he helped Auburn secure NCAA team championships in 2024 and 2026. His significance lies not merely in trophies, but in how his path has stress-tested the interface between amateur excellence, college sports structures, and accelerated entry to the PGA Tour.
Maybe the best place to begin is by asking a simple question. What do the key terms mean, especially the ones that shaped his path?
It's important to understand three pillars. First, the World Amateur Golf Ranking, or WAGR, is a points-based global ranking of amateur golfers. Koivun reached WAGR number 1 in June 2025 and later earned the Mark H. McCormack Medal for that status. Second, the Haskins Award is the Collegiate Player of the Year honor, typically reflecting adjusted scoring averages and broad peer recognition. Koivun won it in 2024 and again in 2026. Third, the PGA Tour University Accelerated Program awards points for elite amateur or collegiate achievements. Upon reaching 20 points, one earns PGA Tour status before graduation. Koivun reached 15 points by making the cut at the Memorial Tournament in June 2024 via the Nicklaus Award invitation, and he attained the 20-point threshold the following year. These mechanisms, taken together, created a direct and unusually rapid corridor from campus to professional fields for him.
So moving on. Why does his career matter to American golf right now?
In this context, Koivun's trajectory matters because it compresses the traditional timeline. Historically, many top collegians turned professional and navigated qualifiers or secondary tours before fully establishing themselves. By contrast, the accelerated program plus elite amateur wins and team selections allowed Koivun to reach full tour opportunities almost immediately. Moreover, the historical significance of sweeping all four major collegiate awards in 2024 and then adding back-to-back team titles for Auburn reframes expectations. It challenges the assumption that elite consistency must be paid for with years of apprenticeship. His subsequent 2026 PGA Tour victory at the 3M Open, in only his third start as a professional, further pressures that old model.
I think the next thing we should talk about is his background. Where did all of this begin for him?
Let's start with the history. Koivun was born in May 2005 in San Jose, California. He learned golf from his father George, and notably first beat him at age 7. That anecdote, while charming, is also a signal of early skill acquisition. In high school, he moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which broadened his competitive ecosystem into the East Coast junior schedule. Junior highlights included the Northern California Junior Championship and the Jack Burke Jr. Invitational in 2021, the Rolex Tournament of Champions in 2022, and the Dustin Johnson World Junior in 2023. By 2023, he enrolled at Auburn University as a top recruit.
And at Auburn, the run was immediate. right?
Clearly, in 2024, as a freshman, he recorded the NCAA's lowest adjusted scoring average at 67.3. He went 7-0 in match play. He won the SEC championship by 6, and he led Auburn to its first ever NCAA men's team title. He then made his PGA Tour debut at the Memorial Tournament via the Nicklaus Award, made the cut, and accumulated key accelerated points. After rising to WAGR number 1 in June 2025, he continued to deliver. In early 2026, he broke Tiger Woods' NCAA 36-hole scoring benchmark with consecutive 62s at the Amerari, became Auburn's winningest golfer, and won a third straight SEC title with a 19-under, 191 SEC record. Auburn won the NCAA team championship again in 2026. He then turned professional after earning low amateur at the US Open. Weeks later, he won the 3M Open at 25 under, beating world number 1 Scottie Scheffler after a Saturday back nine of 28 and a bogey-free Sunday 66. Speaking of personal curiosities, I am drawn to Koivun's analytical temperament. His scoring runs resemble to some extent a chess player converting a structural advantage without drama. You accumulate positional edges, you avoid unforced errors, and when the file opens, you strike decisively. It is method rather than magic.
So, I guess we can start by thinking about 3 big questions we still have about him.
This logically leads us to our triad. First, historically, what is the significance of the 2024 season and its awards sweep? Second, counterfactually, what if he had delayed turning professional in 2026? And third, prospectively, how do collegiate records translate to professional consistency over time? On the historical question, in 2024, Koivun became the first men's collegiate golfer to sweep the Haskins, Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, and Phil Mickelson awards in the same season. These awards draw on different evidence functions: adjusted scoring and head-to-head results, ballots from coaches, media, and peers, and for the freshman award, comparative assessment within a cohort. To align all those signals in one person in 1 year indicates not just peaks but a high mean performance with negligible variance. In simpler terms, dominance.
I'm curious about the historical impact of that sweep. Does it change how we view past great college players? Or is it more about the present system evolving?
We can infer 2 things. First, relative to past greats, the sweep is a new ceiling on consensus. It does not diminish prior eras, but it quantifies unanimity in a way we had not recorded before. Second, the present system, rich in data and structured incentives like the Nicklaus invitation and the accelerated points, amplifies immediate consequences for that dominance. The sweep became not only a historical artifact, but also a practical lever for access to the memorial, to WAGR momentum, and to tour proximity.
And how exactly did those awards influence his professional trajectory? Like, in a concrete way?
Concretely, the Nicklaus Award unlocked the memorial start, and making that cut earned him accelerated points, moving him to 15 of the required 20 and signaling tour readiness. Continued elite play took him to the full 20 the following year, granting PGA Tour status before graduation. Thus, the awards were not merely ornamental, they were causal in his pathway, serving as both credential and gateway. Let's transition to another aspect, the counterfactual. In June 2026, Koivun turned professional after the US Open, where he earned low amateur with a T23, and by doing so, he forfeited his Open Championship exemption that came with the 2025 McCormick Medal. The decision exchanged a guaranteed major start for immediate tour membership and sponsorship flexibility. Weeks later, he validated the choice by winning the 3M Open.
What if he had waited to play the Open first? Would the publicity and links golf experience have changed his early professional arc?
Arguably, a first Open appearance could have elevated brand visibility and offered a different skill test before joining the tour full-time. However, delaying could have postponed tour starts in a narrow summer window, reduced early FedEx Cup point accumulation, and deferred sponsor activation. Given that he won in his third professional start at the 3M Open with a tournament record aggregate, the realized path optimized competitive reps on courses he could enter immediately. In probabilistic terms, he traded one high-prestige but single-event utility for a sequence of starts with compounding value. His observed outcome suggests positive expected value for the path chosen.
How common is it for top amateurs to give up a major start like that? Is this unusual or becoming normal under the accelerated pathway?
It is still relatively uncommon to forego a major exemption. But with accelerated status now available, the strategic landscape has changed. Top amateurs previously prioritized majors for both experience and exposure. Now some may prioritize guaranteed access to multiple PGA Tour fields and the ability to sign equipment or endorsement contracts without amateur restrictions. The trade-off is straightforward: prestige and a singular historic venue on one side, multiplicity of starts, earnings potential, and an earlier learning curve against weekly tour setups on the other. On to our next point, the present-day open question. How predictive are collegiate records of sustained professional success? The literature, if we may call the emerging analytics that, suggests that dominant adjusted scoring and robust match play records correlate with strong approach and tee-to-green profiles, which travel reasonably well. Yet translation is not isomorphic. Schedule strength, course architecture, travel load, and marginal differences in short game performance can attenuate the effect.
Isn't it interesting how someone can be historically great in college and then, find the pro rhythm slower? Can we say there's a pattern, or is it very individual?
To elaborate, we observe exemplars where elite amateur signals portend quick success. Consider that two-time Hogan winners like John Rahm and Ludwig Aubert transitioned efficiently. Yet variance remains. The PGA Tour imposes tighter dispersion of performance. Marginal gains matter. Koivun's case is instructive because his college profile combined low volatility scoring with high ceiling bursts, back-to-back 62s in 2026 and a 28 on a back nine in Minnesota, which together represent both floor and upside. That duality is more predictive than either alone.
Are there current studies or approaches we should watch that connect college data to tour results more rigorously?
Theoretically, a multi-level model using adjusted college scoring, course difficulty indices, and amateur team match outcomes mapped to early tour strokes gained components would be instructive. One could test whether collegiate approach play proxies and par 4 efficiency predict tour approach and scoring better than, say, raw win counts. Additionally, incorporating timing variables, such as the effect of accelerated access on year one learning curves, would refine estimates. In simpler terms, quantify the floor, quantify the ceiling, and control for the schedule. Koivun provides a natural experiment given his immediate win and prior record-setting events. To summarize, Jackson Koivun is an American golfer whose junior pedigree, historic 2024 awards sweep, 3 consecutive SEC titles, WAGR #1 ranking, and 2 NCAA team championships formed the runway to a swift professional ascent, punctuated by a 2026 PGA Tour win in his third start. We examined 3 questions. Historically, why the 2024 sweep matters. Counterfactually, the trade-offs in forfeiting an open exemption versus immediate tour play. And prospectively, how collegiate dominance might project onto week-to-week professional consistency. For further study, we commend careful modeling of collegiate performance metrics against early tour strokes gained, with attention to the structural incentives introduced by the accelerated pathway. Thank you for listening. Continue your studies with precision, and if you will, with a steady grip.
That was helpful to think through, actually. Thank you, Professor.